Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're exploring one of the most impactful concepts for productivity, success, and personal growth. The 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch. This principle, also known as the Pareto Principle, explains how 80% of results come from just 20% of causes. It's a simple yet powerful idea that can change how you approach your work, business, relationships, and even personal goals. In the next 10 minutes, we'll break down the key ideas from the book, and I'll show you how to apply the 80-20 rule to achieve more by doing less. First, let's define the 80-20 principle. The core idea is that 80% of your outcomes come from 20% of your inputs. This imbalance appears everywhere in life, work, and business. For example, 80% of your profits likely come from 20% of your customers, or 80% of your happiness may come from 20% of your activities. This rule was first discovered by the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, who noticed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by just 20% of the population. Since then, this principle has been observed across many fields, including business, economics, and even personal development. Richard Koch expands on this by showing how we can use the 80-20 principle to focus on what truly matters. The goal is to identify the most important 20% that drives the majority of your results and to eliminate or minimize the less effective 80%. The first area we can apply the 80-20 principle is work and productivity. Think about your typical workday. Chances are, 20% of your tasks contribute to 80% of your results. Koch argues that many of us spend too much time on low-value tasks, meetings, and distractions that don't move the needle. To boost productivity, focus on identifying your high-value activities, those tasks that generate the most impact. Here's how you can do that. Identify the key tasks. Look at your work and figure out which tasks or projects have historically produced the best results. These are your 20%. Delegate or eliminate. Once you know the tasks that don't contribute much value, either delegate them to someone else or eliminate them entirely. This allows you to concentrate on what truly matters. Batch your time. Group similar tasks together and set aside focused time for your most important work. Avoid multitasking, as it dilutes your effectiveness. Koch suggests that applying the 80-20 principle in your work can help you become more efficient and effective, allowing you to achieve more by focusing on fewer things. Next, let's look at how the 80-20 principle applies to business. Koch makes the point that in any business, 20% of customers, products, or services often generate 80% of the revenue. Here's how businesses can leverage the 80-20 principle. Identify your top customers. Focus on the small percentage of customers who generate the most revenue or are the most loyal. By nurturing these relationships, you can grow your business more effectively. Optimize your product or service line. Similarly, identify which products or services are generating the most profit. Instead of spreading your resources thin across all offerings, invest in the top performers. Cut inefficiencies. Many businesses waste time and resources on underperforming areas. The 80-20 principle encourages you to cut these inefficiencies and concentrate on what drives success. Koch also explains that the 80-20 principle can be used to streamline operations, reduce costs, and improve customer satisfaction by focusing on the key drivers of value. The 80-20 principle isn't just about work and business. It can be applied to your personal life too. Koch explains that 80% of your happiness and fulfillment comes from 20% of your activities and relationships. The challenge is to identify what those key activities and relationships are and prioritize them. Here are some practical tips. Evaluate your activities. Look at how you spend your time. What activities bring you the most joy, satisfaction, or progress toward your goals. Focus on increasing those activities and cutting down on the ones that drain your energy. Nurture your key relationships. Similarly, not all relationships are equally fulfilling. Invest your time and energy into the 20% of relationships that bring you the most happiness, and minimize interactions that are toxic or draining. Focus on personal growth. What 20% of habits or practices have led to the most growth or positive change in your life? Double down on these habits, whether it's exercising, meditating, reading, or spending time on a hobby that fulfills you. The key takeaway is that you don't have to do everything or please everyone. Focus on the small things that make the biggest difference. The 80-20 principle can also be applied to your health and fitness. Koch suggests that 80% of your physical results come from 20% of your efforts. This might be a few key exercises, a simple yet effective diet change, or prioritizing rest and recovery. Here's how you can apply this principle to your health. Simplify your workouts. Instead of spending hours in the gym, focus on the 20% of exercises that give you the best results. For most people, this includes compound exercises like squats, deadlifts, and push-ups, which work multiple muscle groups. Eat clean 80% of the time. You don't have to follow a strict diet 100% of the time. Focus on eating clean, whole foods 80% of the time, and allow yourself some flexibility for the remaining 20%. Prioritize rest. Rest and recovery are crucial, yet often overlooked. A small amount of high-quality sleep and recovery can lead to significant improvements in health and performance. By focusing on the 20% that leads to 80% of your health results, you can simplify your approach to fitness and still achieve great outcomes. Another important area where the 80-20 principle can be applied is your finances. Koch explains that 80% of your financial gains come from 20% of your decisions or investments. So how can you use this principle to build wealth and manage money? Identify high-impact investments. Focus on the small percentage of investments that generate the most return. Whether it's stocks, real estate, or another vehicle, the key is to find what works best for you and invest more in those areas. Cut unnecessary spending. Look at your expenses. Which 20% of spending causes 80% of your financial strain? By cutting or reducing these expenses, you can free up more money for saving or investing. Simplify your finances. Use the 80-20 rule to simplify your financial life. Automate savings, pay down high-interest debt, and focus on long-term financial growth rather than short-term gratification. By concentrating on the financial decisions that lead to the greatest impact, you can streamline your money management and build wealth more effectively. The 80-20 principle also applies to your relationships and social life. As mentioned earlier, 80% of your happiness comes from 20% of your relationships. This means you should focus on nurturing the most valuable connections and minimizing time spent on less fulfilling or toxic relationships. Here's how to apply this. Focus on quality over quantity. It's not about how many friends or acquaintances you have. It's about the quality of those relationships. Invest more time in the key people who bring you the most joy, support, and fulfillment. Set boundaries. Identify the relationships or social obligations that drain your energy. It's okay to set boundaries and prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. Deepen your key relationships. Spend more time with the people who matter most, and work on deepening those relationships through meaningful conversations, shared experiences, and quality time together. The goal is to focus on the relationships that bring you happiness and let go of those that don't serve you. In conclusion, the 80-20 principle is about focusing on the few things that truly matter and letting go of the rest. Whether it's in your work, business, health, finances, or relationships, you can achieve more by doing less if you focus on the 20% that generates the most impact. To start using the 80-20 rule in your life, ask yourself these key questions. What's the 20% of your tasks that lead to 80% of your success? Which relationships or activities bring you the most joy and fulfillment? And what can you eliminate to simplify your life and focus on what matters? Thank you for watching. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know how you plan to apply the 80-20 principle in your life, and I'll see you in the next video.